you see the jokes we have to tell?
Mm-hmm.
Solid.
Homework Hotline, what is your emergency?
Hello everyone, welcome to Homework Hotline. We are coming to you live from the DPS TV studios. So there are plenty of ways to watch us live. You can tune into Comcast Channel 22, Prism TV Channel 8007, YouTube Live at Denver DPS TV, Facebook Live at EG Homework, or live stream at livestream.com and search for DPS TV 22.
Why are we live in so many places, you ask? Because we want to give you a lot of viewing options so you can get your homework help you need, the homework help you need. We're here every Tuesday and Wednesday from 4:30 to 5:30 p.m.
Just give us a call and we can interact with you here on the show. If you're having a hard time understanding the problem, we'll work through it with you. If we need to clarify something in your question, we can also ask you if you call. Calling is really the best way to get your question answered. Our number, you can see it at the top of the screen. It's 720-424-1666.
And the Homework Hotline is sponsored by Contemporary Learning Academy and Emily Griffith High School. Do you need help with math? I'm Nathan, and I can help you with that. I teach math at Emily Griffith High School.
I will also help you with math. I'm Becca, and I too teach at EGHS. We normally have Sam on the set with us to help with science, but he's not able to make it today. He should be back tomorrow to help you with your science questions. Later in the show, we will have Lindsay Genschaft, the manager of family and community programs at the Denver Art Museum, as our guest.
Speaking of art, I heard this fun art joke today. Please show my screen. Earth without art is just
Nice. Well, though we prefer to get your phone calls, we know calling isn't always the easiest thing to do. So, easiest thing for you. So we have someone monitoring our social media.
As Michelangelo said to the ceiling, I've got you covered. My name's Jordy. I'm an intern here at DPS TV. I'm a student at Metropolitan State University, and I'll be monitoring the social media board today. So you can send in your questions via email, Facebook, Twitter. Those will all work for us. We can help you with your homework questions, and I'm also going to be giving you the trivia question today. So at the beginning of the show, we'll give you the question. You can call in, answer it, and there is a prize. And if you get it correct, you'll win the prize. And at the end of the show, we'll give you the answer. So today's question is actually a history question. Who was the first man in space? So if you think you have an answer to that question, you can call in and give it a shot. And it's definitely worth a try.
Yeah, no harm for guessing. So we do have prizes, symphony tickets, 2 symphony tickets to the symphony of your choice. So give us a call by the end of the show and you can win that prize. You could also, if you wanted to, you can send in your answer for the trivia question or your homework questions via social media. Let's give you all of that information here. On your screen, you have all of the ways to contact us. You could call us, as we mentioned before. That's our best way of getting a hold of us, but you could also get in touch with us via social media at Facebook or Twitter. Our handle is EG Homework for both of those. You could text your question or your trivia answer to us at 970-680-3771, or you could email us at homework@emilygriffith.edu. So choices upon choices.
So many choices.
So many choices. All right, well, let's go to social media and see if there are any questions waiting for us that we can
I
answer.
got questions for you. So this one is, Noelle read 90 minutes each day for 6 days. Tyra read 60 minutes each day for 8 days. What is the difference in minutes between the total amount of time Noelle read and the total amount of time Tyra read?
Okay, I'll take this one. So Noelle read 90 minutes a day.
90 minutes, 6 days.
Each. Oh, I should write minutes.
And Tyra is 60 minutes and 8 days.
6 days. And Tyra, Tyra.
Yep.
I'm not going to write all of it, but 60 minutes a day for how many days is that?
8 days.
8 days. And
Yep.
we want to know what is the difference in minutes between the total amount of time Noelle read and the total amount of time Tyra read. So the first thing we need to know is total amounts for each of these students or people. I guess you don't have to be students. It could just be people who are reading. So in order to figure out the total, well, we could say, look, if Noelle read 90 minutes a day, that means for 6 days, you could say 90 plus 90, right? We could say, like, these are all the days that she read. 1, 2, 3. So we got day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, and day 6. So there's one of two ways you could figure out the total time that she read. You could just add 90 minutes every day. So the first day she read 90 minutes. Second day she read 180, and so on. But faster way to do this is to say the total reading time for Noelle equals 90, so 90 minutes a day times 6 days. So Noelle read a total of 540 minutes. She reads quite a bit. But we could do the same thing. We could say that Tyra read 60 minutes a day, so we need to figure out the total for Tyra. 60 minutes a day times 8 days is 480 minutes total. So we actually want to know the difference, so we can look at this really quick and we could say, look, obviously Noelle read more. Even though she read less days, she read a lot more during those days. But the difference we're saying is we're going to take the total that Noelle read and we're going to subtract the total that Tyra read, so that 540 minutes minus Tyra reading 480 minutes is 60 minutes longer for Noelle. And you can convert this if you wanted to. You could say that it's 1 hour. But that's all you're really doing, is you're trying to think about how much total did each of them read. So we just take the rate that they were reading at times the number of days, and then we find the difference by subtracting. That's pretty much it. You got anything to add there?
No, I think that pretty much covers it. Nice
Yeah.
job.
Thank you.
Nice job. All right, let's go back to social media and get some more questions answered.
Awesome. This one is a little long. So it's 9 squared divided by 3 minus 5 squared minus 2 squared times 5.
And we've got some choices there, it looks like, as
We
well.
do.
Okay. Well, it looks like what we're doing is we're simplifying that expression. I'll go ahead and take this one. I just copied this from the email that was sent. I put it on my screen so that we have it. one of the things that, since we have to simplify, one of our major rules with simplifying expressions is that we have to use our order of operations, which you may have heard before is, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, or PEMDAS. What this says is that it just explains the order that we need to simplify any parts of expressions. So P stands for parentheses. We're going to simplify anything inside of parentheses first. You might notice if you look at our expression, we don't have any parentheses there. E stands for exponents. So exponents are the same thing as powers. We do actually have a few of those there. M stands for multiplication. D stands for division. Now, it should be noted that these two should be done left to right. So if we see a division before we see a multiplication, they would always come left to right. So actually, and I do even end up seeing that in this problem here. If you see here division and multiplication, those should go left to right. That's one of the most common errors when it comes to following order of operations. Same goes for addition and subtraction. It also goes from left to right. So if we see a subtraction before we see addition, again, it's left to right. So again, I don't know, part of how I do this is I would almost use my PEMDAS as a checklist, thinking about, or just checking off of the list. So starting with P or parentheses, I can check that off because there are no parentheses in our problem. We can move on to the next step. You may or may not see all of these features in an expression. The next one is exponents, and as I mentioned, we have a few exponents here. We have 9 squared, 5 squared, and 2 squared. So these would be the parts of the problem that we would be focusing on right now. We would do first. Everything else should get rewritten. So 9 squared, we're going to get 81. 5 squared, we get 25. And 2 squared, we get 4. As I mentioned before, everything else we're going to rewrite. So we're going to say 81 divided by 3 minus 25 minus 4 times 5. So there's our exponents. We got those done. Simplified those. Now, as I mentioned, multiplication and division, they go together from left to right. So you might notice here so here's some division. And then I also have some multiplication here. So they have to go from left to right. So we're going to have to do our division first. First we'll do 81 divided by 3. We get 27. And then we'll rewrite the other stuff that we didn't touch. Then we have 4 times 5, so that has to come second. And we get 20. So there, we're done with our multiplication and our division. Now we would do any addition or subtraction from left to right. So we'll start with our furthest to the left, which is the 27 minus 25. And you get 2. And then we rewrite everything else. And then at this point, we just have one last operation to do. We have 2 minus 20, and we get negative 18. One thing, I guess, tips when it comes to this problem, or type of problem, one of the tips is, as you saw me do, is either underlining the part that you're working on or highlighting the part you're working on. The other tip would be to show all of your steps row by row. Each expression and each step should be equivalent in step by step. And I used to tell my middle schoolers when I taught this is your work should almost look like an ice cream cone, where we start where it's really complicated and we're breaking it down smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller till we get to the tip of that ice cream cone. So looks like our answer here is C, negative 18. So
it's a good visual, like the arithmetic symbols underneath PEMDAS. I couldn't think of what that was for a second.
Oh, right. And it is actually, it's really important to organize your work with those as well. I think most of the mistakes that I see with these are just when people are not organizing their work very well.
Right.
And just trying to do the order and keep track of what they did and
Too
what
much
they
in your
didn't do. and which numbers did I not subtract yet or divide or whatever. So
Right.
if you can keep track of your work in a very linear way, then that helps a lot with accuracy, I guess. All right, so let's go back to social media.
Awesome. So this one is going to be a little bit of probability. It's a box contains 6 red pens and 4 blue pens. Corey randomly picks a pen from the box and keeps it. Then Todd randomly picks a pen from the box. What is the probability both boys will pick red pens?
All right, I can take that one. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to draw a quick box, and inside I'm going to have these pens. They're not going to look like pens, they're just going to look like little dots. All right, so we've got 6 red pens, and we do this a lot in math, right? Like, it would be a lot of work to draw like 6 red pens and 4 blue pens, but a lot of times in math what we do is we create symbols. Maybe they're letters, maybe they're visual symbols that represent something that we're talking about. So we've got 6 red pens and 4 blue pens, and we need 2 things to happen. So Corey's going to pick a pen from the box and keep it, and Todd is going to pick a pen from the box and also keep it. So it's really important to note that Corey is keeping the pen, and we want to see the odds of them both getting a red pen. So both of these things have to happen. So and the odds of Corey selecting a red pen, well, let's think about how many pens there are. So we need, we're going to talk about really quick desired outcome versus possible outcomes, or over possible outcomes. Or did you call it something else before? I mean, that works.
That works.
Okay, so the desired outcome for Corey, they both have to pick red pens, so Corey has to pick a red pen. Well, out of all these red pens, we know that 6 of them, out of all the pens, not all the red pens, 6 out of 10 are going to be red. So if Corey pulls a pen out, there's a 6 out of 10 chance he's going to get a red pen. We could leave it like this for now. Now, once Corey selects his red pen, he's keeping it. So it's important to note that he's not putting it back in. So the odds, the desired outcome, or the possible outcomes will change a little bit. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to remove one of these because Corey took one. Now there are only 5 red pens. So the odds of, Todd selecting a red pen are now not going to be out of 10 because there are only 9 pens in here. So they're going to be out of 9. And there are a total of 5 red pens. So what we're going to do is we're going to say, okay, first of all, 6 out of 10 chance that Corey selects it. In order to figure out the odds of both things happening, we're actually going to multiply them together. So times 5 out of 9. And multiplying fractions, we're just going to multiply across, so a 30 out of 90. So if Corey and Todd do this 90 times, we would expect 30 times for both of them to select a red pen. We can reduce this in a couple ways, and we can say probability is 1 out of 3. So again, if we did this 3 times, theoretically, they should both pick a red pen 1 time. We can also write this as a decimal, and we could say 1 divided by 3 is 0.33. Or we could say that there is a 33% chance that they'll both pick a red pen. So, the odds of Corey selecting one are about 6 out of 10 or 60% or 3 out of 5. But the odds of both of these things happening becomes much smaller, like the more you repeat this. So hopefully that helps. You got anything to add on that?
No, that was great. I like the picture.
Yeah, I think a lot of times students hesitate to draw like a model because they're like, I got to draw these pens. You don't have to draw the pens. You can just, like the red pens can be stars, the blue pens can be squares. We do this all the time in math to make things simpler.
Too much work to draw them.
Yeah.
But it helps with understanding why the probability is not just 6 out of 10
Right.
and then 6 out of 10 again.
Or 5 out of 9 the next time. Like that seems odd, but if you think about like what's actually in there left, so.
True. Diagrams make things a lot easier.
They do.
All right. Let's go back to social media, get some questions.
All right, this one, some multiplying binomials. So in parentheses, x minus 5.
Okay.
And we have another set of parentheses, x minus 9.
I think this was an answer on the test that I had today. My students took.
So you should know this one already.
I do know this one already. I think I'll take this. Okay. So first off, it is called multiplying binomials, and I will start by explaining that word. First, binomials, this prefix bi meaning two, like a bicycle has 2 wheels, tricycle has 3 wheels. So binomials meaning it has 2 terms, and you can kind of see here's one term, here is the second term. So we have 2 binomials that are being multiplied together. Now, a lot of times I will give this example first before I explain how to multiply binomials. This is a monomial, meaning 1 term, times a binomial, 2 terms. And oftentimes students know how to handle this, but then when it comes to binomials, get a little bit held up. So a lot of times I will explain this one first. So when we have 1 term times 2 terms, means we need to distribute. This is called the distributive property, where we would take our 5 times the first term, and then our 5 times the second term. So 5 times x, we get 5x. 5 times the negative 9, we get negative 45. So what we're doing when we multiply in general is we're making sure that each term gets multiplied together by the other. So if we were looking at this multiplying binomials, we would want to make sure that we took this negative 5 times the x and the negative 5 times the negative 9. But we also have another term that we have to distribute as well, and that's our x. So we would have to do the x times the x, and we'd also have to do the x times the negative 9. Now, one of the strategies to multiplying binomials, or one of the methods, I guess you could say, is called FOIL. And a lot of my students have heard of that, but don't know what it means. What that is saying is just kind of a reminder to make sure that you distribute every term to every term. So F stands for front. So, and I'm going to highlight these so you can see what I mean when I say front. Let's see here. Oh, I got rid of my X. Come back. Okay, so the front terms would be like my X and my X. Those would be my front terms. My O stands for outside. So these would be the 2 on the outside. So I would say the X times the negative 9. The I stands for inside. So they would be the 2 on the inside. So the negative 5 and the X, and the L stands for last. So the negative 5 and the negative 9. Now, this strategy, perfectly fine, nothing wrong with it. However, my only issue with it is that it only works for binomials, if we have 4 things that we have to multiply. I choose to use a different method whenever I multiply binomials, and that's called the area model. The area model just goes with the idea that if we're multiplying a length and a width together, the area is our product. So I could almost pretend that this first binomial is my length, and then this second binomial is my width, and that whatever the area is would be the product of the 2 of these binomials. So I could set up my length as x minus 5. I could set up my width as x minus 9. And then what might make my life a little bit easier is if I split these up. So do x and negative 5 separately and x and negative 9 separately. Then I only have one thing to multiply together at a time. So I do x times x to find the area of this first part here. And actually, if we were doing FOIL, that would be the front part, our x times x. So that gives us x squared. And then negative 5 times x would be for the top right box. That gives us negative 5x. On the bottom left, we get negative 9x. That's x times negative 9, our length times width there. And on the bottom right, we have negative 5 times negative 9, which gives us 45. And then if we were finding the area of something, and we found area of all of these little pieces, if we wanted to find the area of the whole thing, we'd have to add those all together. So what I would do is I'd say x squared plus negative 5x, or just maybe a shorter way to write that, minus 5x, plus negative 9x, plus 45. And then, as with anything, we would want to simplify it as much as we can. So we would combine any like terms that we have, which we could say negative 5x and negative 9x. Those are like terms. So all together, combining them, I have x squared minus 14x, and then plus 45. Now, at this point, no more like terms. That's as much as we can simplify this product together. So this is what we get when we multiply two binomials, or these two binomials together. So there you have it.
Yeah, I like that you showed like a couple different methods, because I think sometimes students have trouble with one method and then they're really solid on another one, or vice versa.
Yeah, I have students who come, they already know FOIL, so I just say, go, use it, it's fine, there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
But the area model is cool because you can use it with trinomial times a trinomial, or
Right.
any number of terms times any number of terms, whereas FOIL only works for 2.
And it's just a good way to organize.
It really is. It's kind of a nice little visual.
Yeah.
All right, we are going to take a little bit of a break, but when we come back, we're going to have our guest from the Denver Art Museum. So be ready for that in just a minute.
Hey guys, good to see you.
This is Carlos, a graduating senior
How are you?
here at Emily Griffith High School.
I came from North High School, Westminster High School, and Jefferson High School.
As a group, get that jotted down.
Like many teenagers, he had, well, a hard time showing up to school.
I didn't show up because of the surroundings, the people that were there. Bad influences or just bad decisions. The 2 circles.
Oh.
Carlos had an option.
My cousin actually came here and graduated from here, and I took the opportunity and jumped on it to come to Emily Griffith High School.
Okay, which one was this?
Listen to his teacher, Haley Todd.
He came to Emily Griffith with 1 course completed, 5 credits, 1 course.
But at Emily Griffith High School,
We're able to tailor to our individual students. We have really small class sizes. We have a smaller school community. We're able to build relationships with the students so they're connected and they have meaning and purpose when they're here. I think all of these things contribute really heavily to a lot of success that we see. Carlos is one example of that.
The type of student I am now compared to how I was before is I'm a student who works hard. I have persistence in what I do. I don't give up on anything that I do, whereas before I used to give up easily and I never came to school. Well, I came in to Emily Griffith High School with 5 credits, and in a period of 2 years I made up all of my credits. So 4 years of high school I basically made up in 2 years.
One other exciting fact about Carlos is that all of the teachers get to vote each year before our graduation ceremony and recognized one student as our outstanding student of the class of 2015, and it was close to unanimous that Carlos was absolutely deserving of this award.
but that's not all. Carlos is also graduating with a certificate in water quality management from Emily Griffith Technical College through concurrent enrollment.
The way I actually heard of Emily Griffith concurrent enrollment program was through my counselor. I was doing fairly well my first few months of it at Emily Griffith. Perfect attendance, and she mentioned it to me. And I decided that I wanted to do water quality management.
I strongly encourage concurrent enrollment. I think it's invaluable, the opportunity to attempt a new post-secondary program or to explore a new potential career path while you're still working with others who are supporting you on your diploma and who you have someone to process with if you run into a challenge.
What Emily Griffith High School did for me was turn my life around, making me into a success from somebody who was basically destined to be unsuccessful. It gave me a job at Denver Water.
That's right, a job at Denver Water.
So Carlos has a certificate in water quality management. That opened up the door for him to get an entry position at Denver Water, which leads to so many possibilities for his future while still pursuing college and now also having a diploma.
Without the opportunity that Emily Griffith has given me, I would probably be a dropout or still working towards my high school diploma with no job or knowing what I want to do in the future.
And now,
My future to me looks bright because of the opportunities that I got here at Emily Griffith, because I chose to learn and choose the right paths that this school put in front of me.
Hi, welcome back. We're here with Lindsay Genshaft, and I said it wrong earlier, and I'm so sorry.
No big deal.
But Lindsay Genshaft, almost did it again, from the Denver Art Museum. And tell us what you do at the Denver Art Museum. I'll let you tell us.
Sure. So I'm the manager of family and community programs, and it's really, in a nutshell, my job to just welcome everybody to the museum and make sure that it's not intimidating, it's not boring, that there's lots of stuff for them to do, there's lots of ways to engage with the artwork. So it's a very fun job.
I am just going to jump right into it. All the Star Wars stuff
Yeah.
on the table.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about that. So can you tell us a
should
little
be.
bit about why
Yeah.
you brought all that?
Absolutely. So we're opening an exhibition on Sunday called Star Wars: The Power of Costume. And we have so many fun things. We have things represented, or objects represented from all of the movies. So we have costumes like Princess Leia's very iconic dress there. And then we have Wicket the Ewok. And we have stuff from the prequel movies. And then we even have Rey and Finn's costumes from the most recent movie. So there's so much. And there's droids, and there's, people from the Empire, there's Han, there's Chewie. So everyone's there. And it's really fun.
And it's not open yet, right?
Right. It opens on Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
So
how long
November 13th.
How long does it go until?
It goes till April 2nd.
So I have a lot of time to go multiple
Yes,
times.
absolutely.
All right, great.
Multiple times. Just in case you missed something the first time around.
Yeah. Multiple times.
Oh, wow. So, I mean, it sounds like there are things for people of all ages.
Definitely.
Not just in the Star Wars exhibit, but in general. What kinds of things would you say are good for families? And
Yeah. So from what we've learned and experienced, people love to not only see art, but make art. And so we offer a lot of art making opportunities in the galleries. That's what I brought this. This is one of our create and takes. It's called Screen Stories. And the fun thing is that it's based on this object right here, which is a mini screen. And you get to engage in a conversation about the screen, which has a whole story on it. It's kind of this love story. And on the back, there's a poem. And then you get to really think about the object and discuss it with a program facilitator. And then you get to make your own screen. So that's just an example of something you can do in the gallery.
That's really cool.
And it's pretty unusual because a lot of times museums won't let you do stuff like art making in the galleries, but we have an amazing conservation team that really supports us. And so we think it's really important to be able to be inspired by the object that you're discussing right there. So you get to do it right in the gallery. And then this is another one of our create and takes called Tupu Pins. And that's based on this object. So if you can see it, there's a glare. But
Those are so cool.
yeah. So it's really fun, and what we find is that these create and takes actually engage people, because there's all these different entry points, basically, because you could make this if you're 5, but you could also make it if you're 95. You know what I mean? So we try to make it very accessible for everyone. We also have a studio, which is on the first floor of our Hamilton building, which is the modern-looking building, because there's 2 buildings, you know? And so the studio is, it changes theme about twice a year. And so right now we're going to open the costume studio, which is obviously inspired by Star Wars. And so you're really going to get to design. There's all these mannequins in the costume studio, and you get to design your own looks, and then you get to do these character-based costume activities. So it's very interactive. It's always based in our collection, and we're hoping that it'll really draw families out for winter break, especially because we have a whole winter break program that happens. But we have create and takes every weekend. We have the studio will open on November 13th and then be open every day the museum's open, which is every day except Monday. And then we also have activities on basically every floor in every gallery for families. So we're a very family-friendly museum, and that's kind of what our reputation is. So, and we just believe that art should be for everybody.
I so agree.
I think
so
it's
agree.
cool that it's so interactive, because when I think of an art museum, I think I'm just going to go walk around and like look at
Right.
Paintings,
art.
right?
Yeah, and then
Yeah,
I
we're
get-
trying to break
statues.
through that stereotype, and that's really my
That's
job.
great.
So it's pretty fun, and yeah, you're allowed to talk in a museum. You're allowed to have questions about the art and have your own opinions, and we like to encourage
That's
that.
great.
That is so cool. Really cool. You took my question. Is what I was going to ask, is anything interactive with the Star Wars?
Yes.
So there's the costume making, but what else is going on with Star Wars?
So I got to write the kids' audio guide, and so it's really fun because it's voiced by 2 local actors here who a lot of people go to see at Buntport Theater Company, and so which is really fun. And so basically, we created these 2 hosts in the world of Star Wars. One is like a fashion guru, and one is really into gadgets, and they always bicker and stuff. And so what that allows us to do is take that kind of argument through different objects. And so the fashion guru is always fighting for like the costumes are better, and then the girl is always fighting for the gadget. She's like, no, but the lightsaber, and all that kind of stuff. And so basically through that, we're hoping to really engage the listener to look closer at the objects and learn things that maybe they wouldn't otherwise. And then they also, at the end, get to vote for what they think is more important, which is gadgets or get-ups. So,
Gadgets or get-ups?
Yeah, I'd have to vote
get-ups.
gadgets. What would you?
Gadgets.
Yeah, the gadgets.
Probably.
I don't know. Wait till you see these
but-
costumes.
Yeah.
I was just, that's what I was just
mean,
going to say is I don't know.
They're
That's
pretty
true,
incredible.
because I don't really think much about, like, I mean, the costumes are really important, but
Yeah.
I'm just like, ooh, lightsabers.
Yeah, the lightsabers are incredible, and
Yeah.
the display of them is unbelievable. But yeah.
So, how close can you get to the I imagine you can't try them on, but like, can you get pretty close to them, like see the detail?
The display is pretty incredible. There's a lot of, you can walk around a lot of them 360 and really see like all angles of them. Some of them are in display cases, but a lot of it is you feel like you're right in it, especially the lightsaber section, because it's like this battle and you're like, wow, I am in the middle of this. So
How many lightsabers do you have?
we have, oh my gosh, I don't know the exact number, but we have a lot represented. So we have Luke's, we have Obi-Wan's, we have some of the evil guys that I don't know their names.
I like that you don't know the number because there's too many.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's true.
Sounds
that
promising
tells
to
us,
me.
that
It's
tells
really,
us that there's
it's
enough.
cool. And there's,
Yeah.
I won't give it away, but there's actually an interactive part with the lightsabers.
Okay. I have to go soon.
Yeah.
You've convinced me too.
I mean, you told me it's Star Wars, but that's just a little extra.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's really fun.
Yeah, who does not want to play with a lightsaber
I
or
know.
Yeah.
interact with a
Yeah.
lightsaber? Wow. So you told us about winter break. Are there any specific activities that you're looking forward to for winter break?
Yes, actually, that's a perfect question. So we do a lot of museum theater at our museum because we
With
find that-
lightsabers?
No, with lightsabers, but we do it. We find that it helps have another entry point for people into the art. So I always liken it to like, okay, if you go to a concert and you know the songs, don't you think it's more fun?
Oh, it's so much more fun.
It's so much more fun when you know the songs.
So-
'Cause you can sing along, you can dance, you can.
Yeah.
And you get excited when you hear your favorite song.
Right.
So it's kind of like that with art. Like if you know some of the stories and the artist's process and stuff like that behind the art, then you're going to get more excited to see it in the gallery. So we wrote a play called Art Emergency, which we premiered last year, and it was so popular that we wrote Art Emergency 2. And really it's about these 2 museum staff members who can't agree on what artwork to put in the final display of an exhibition. And so basically the audience becomes the board of directors, and they have to help us decide. And through that you learn like all these really cool stories about how we either acquired the art or how the artist made it or some cool story behind it. And so we're going to be premiering that starting December 22nd every day at 11 a.m. So if you're going to see Star Wars, say you don't have tickets until like 1, you could come see the play first.
Show us.
So this is the postcard that we're sending out to many family members soon. And so, so yeah, it's just another, we try to have a variety of activities available. So we have art making, we have theater, we obviously have exhibitions, and so just whatever is kind of exciting to you, we hope that we can support that. So yeah, and winter break is from December 20th to January 8th. And what that means is that our Create and Takes and our backpack cart, which is another activity that we have. It's down here.
Tell us.
So backpacks are basically, this is Living Like a Chinese Scholar.
Okay.
And again, there are these interactive tools to that take you to a particular exhibition or floor and really help you engage with the art through games, activities, and art making. That's enough. We put like enough for however big your family is, so you can take that part home. So our family activity cart, which is where you get a backpack, our Create and Takes are open every day during winter break, which is usually they're just on the weekends. And then we have the play running every day at 11, plus we have the costume studio, plus there's Star Wars, plus there's all of the installed activities in the galleries. So
Wow.
there's a lot to do at the Denver
Really?
Art
Yeah.
Museum.
Yeah. No, it really sounds like a great place to take kids. I just remember when I was younger. Now I'm not from Denver, so.
Yeah.
But I just remember when I was younger, my parents would, give me a choice, like, oh, do you want to go to the Natural History Museum? Do you want to go to the Art Museum? I always wanted to go to the Science Museum because that was the one that was so interactive. And I remember the Art Museum not being interactive. You just got to look at things, which is cool. But as a kid, you want to get into it, right?
And that's what we try to provide. So, and it is also a great place for teachers to bring their students. We actually have all kids 18 and under are free. And we also have a whole scholarship bus situation where you can get free transportation. And if you go to the website, you can learn all about that stuff.
So pretty much could be a free field trip.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that's great.
And there's a lot of resources we have to support teachers. We have a creativity resource website which has hundreds and hundreds of lesson plans and ideas to kind of engage with the art and learn math or learn about history or learn about science. So.
Oh, I love this. I'm going to hold this up because I was thinking like, well, how can we connect math? I always wonder that because I'm like, okay, well, I want to take my kids on a field trip, but how do I really, like, how could I do that? So there's this Star Wars math workbook that, has all these.
I want to try it.
Now you can learn more about Tatooine.
It's got all of this math stuff here. So you said that there are resources online with connecting math and art?
Yeah, we really connecting all of those subjects. And so if you go through and you can pick it by object, by country, by region, and whatever, hopefully it supports whatever you're teaching in class that you can find something, because there really are hundreds of ideas and lesson plans, and it's for grades like early childhood all the way up to 12th grade.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
So we could even
we need to look into that. Yeah. We need to figure that out. I would really like to go to the art museum one day. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It'd be fun to have you. Yeah, and so you can buy that in the shop that is exit through the gift shop of Star Wars.
And it aligns with National Common Core.
Oh, that's important.
That's important. And then this is other stuff that you can buy in the shop. So this fun Stormtrooper lunchbox.
I was saying earlier I have almost the exact same lunchbox.
Awesome.
Really?
Yeah. And then there's this kind of creepy backpack, but it's cool.
Oh gosh.
I guess is that Darth Vader?
It's oh, no, that's a Stormtrooper.
Stormtrooper.
With like the galaxy
but
on it.
Galaxy behind him.
That's really cool.
Creepy.
Yeah.
Oh, good. But that's awesome. So you talked about online resources. Anything else that the art museum offers that maybe the public wouldn't know?
Wouldn't normally know about. Well, we definitely have. I can speak more for family and community because that's my division, and so we also offer. We have a very rich early childhood program, and so we do something called Create Playdate. It's the second Wednesday of every month, and it's basically for ages, I'd say 2 to 5 it hits, and it's really a way to get young people into a museum at an early age, but making them feel comfortable. So we have a whole art making that's attached to a work of art, and we take the kids up to the galleries and do all of these gallery games with them in a story, and then hopefully that impacts them enough to fall in love with a museum and understand that museums can be interactive, and it can be like a science museum experience. And so we have that, and then we also have another museum theater program called Foxy and Schmoxy Art Detectives, and those are foxes who, we used to have this installation called Fox Games, and it was these foxes jumping all over a red cafe. It was very popular with families, and we deinstalled it just because to make room for other art. But 2 of the foxes came to life, and they are decided that because their installation is gone, they're going to be art detectives, and so they have to go around and solve art mysteries. And basically, we have a pretty good following of people that come every month to see how the mystery is unfolding. So it's, again, another way to engage people with a mystery, just to, make people realize that there is so much you can do with art, and hopefully they'll have opinions about it then and be able to talk about it and stuff like that. So that's our early childhood realm. And then in adult programs we have you all ever been to Untitled?
No.
Oh my gosh, you have to come. So it's the final Friday of every month.
Okay.
And except for November and December. So it's coming back
Holidays,
in January.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Is
so
it the same time when they do like the art walk in Santa Fe?
No, that's the first Friday.
First Friday, okay.
So this is the last Friday of every month, and it's like programming for adults. It's so fun. So we basically invite the community and a lot of community members to interpret the collection, and it's themed every month, and we'll go along with that theme, and you can take it really far. And so I don't know. One fun thing that we've done is we invited some hairdressers to come in and be inspired by works of art and do free haircuts. Like it's stuff like that. It's really fun, and there's always art making for adults.
That's really cool.
You have to be quite the risk taker to come in
I
and
know,
volunteer
right?
your hair.
You do.
Bring in
You
your
really
favorite painting or something.
Yeah, true. We most recently, my favorite thing is we have drag queens giving museum tours.
Oh, that's
They're
so
great. Fantastic.
That is
yeah,
so great.
It's awesome. And so it's really just letting the community come on in and help us interpret the collection, in a way that's really fun. And there's like wine and cheese, So it's like it's a fun adult night, but actually a lot of kids come too. So you can bring the whole family.
And you said that's called Untitled?
Untitled.
Yep.
Okay. Final Friday.
That sounds fun.
Of every month, except for November and December.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know. I'll just have to wait till.
You'll have to wait till January.
Yeah, we'll just have to spend a lot of time at the Star Wars exhibit until then.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Oh my gosh. Well, that is really cool to learn all of the things that you have to offer. Your job sounds like it's so much fun.
I know. Yeah. It's so much fun. You guys look like you're having fun too.
Oh yeah, totally. Yes. Oh my gosh, yes. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Lindsay Genshaft.
Yes.
Got it.
Right.
Third time's a charm.
Third time's a charm. From the Denver Art Museum. You guys check out the Denver Art Museum. If you see her there, say hello.
Please do. Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us, and we're going to take a little break, and we'll see you back in a moment.
It's all about the craft of gathering the elements to tell a good story. I try to build my students' confidence as the program builds. And I think it's important to network as soon as you can. I mean, when you start the program, start making contact.
It's an amazing school, so I decided to check it out for myself. I was more than pleased about it. It was an amazing school. My name's Juan Guzman. Graduated from the CNA course. Thanks to Emily Griffith, I actually got a job. So thank you, so much. Really, thank you. They set you up with the emails, who's hiring, and if you need help, sending an application. They actually sit down with you and help you out with your resume as well. I've been with the patient for 3 days, and I've seen every single step of that patient getting healthier and healthier. On the last day when they got discharged, they gave me the biggest hug, and then they thanked me for what I did. Just that hug that they gave me just made me feel like I could keep doing this forever. That's my happiest moment. That was just last week, and I can't wait to there's gonna be more of those weeks to come. If you have a question, ask it. There's no wrong question, especially through this school, and that's why I love so much. I ask so many questions, and not once did my instructor thought that I asked too many questions. Everything they teach you is a life lesson you'll take on forever.
My name is Robbie Cheney, and my goal in life is to become a filmmaker.
Am I just pretending?
I have been interested in making movies since I was 11 years old, when I first started watching bonus materials on how movies were made. I wanted to get into the Colorado Film School when I was ready, though I had a hard time getting there. And that's when I heard of another school that has a video program, and that was Emily Griffith Technical College. I am good at how things in the program work, from cameras to editing. I have learned how to set up a good sequence in a video and how to work in a television studio for a broadcast.
Art walk in Tennyson.
The best projects I have worked on was a news report about a social gathering doing an art walk.
So nice.
Another project is a non-profit video about Dare Coffee, a coffee truck that hires young adults with autism to find and get jobs.
Thank you.
I am a creative artist behind videos and feature films. I have been told by many people that I am really talented at my work. Well, not that way, like... And that is my goal, to have a recognition and a passion for my dreams.
Welcome back. Hopefully you enjoyed our guest. I certainly did. I was thinking that the art museum was boring.
Yeah, I just never really thought of an art museum as like interactive.
No, not that interactive.
Yeah.
And all of those, just so much going on with it.
Plus Star Wars. I don't know if I mentioned that. I'm excited
Star
about that.
Wait.
But
That's so true.
Yeah.
And wait, what I love, she said, kids under 18 are free.
Yeah.
Free. So get your family there because it sounds like a blast. So, anyways, we'll get back to what we do best, which I guess is answer math questions. Maybe not as fun as the art museum, but let's get back to social media and see what we have waiting for us.
All right, so this one, it's 9 minus -6, and our student just isn't sure, if that would be 15 or 3 or something else.
Okay.
I think the minus a negative number is kind of
throws people off a bit.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. My pen's not working.
Is it your pen or your tablet? Let me see if it works on mine. Yeah, it works on mine.
Okay.
Hey, how about this? Because I feel like you're much better at explaining these. Like, I'm just going to say what the answer is.
Okay.
And I can write it down.
Okay.
So we're talking about 9 minus -6. And I always think about the number line.
Okay.
Is that how you do it? Or
No.
I know you do the algebra tiles.
I do, algebra and integer tiles.
And you've explained it to me like 4 or 5 times, and I still don't quite know how to explain it.
Okay. Do you want me to show you?
Sure.
I'll describe it while you draw it.
Okay, so I wrote it up here, 9 minus -6, and I always think of like the number line. Maybe I'll explain it my way.
You do
really
your
quick.
way. My computer will be ready by the time.
Yeah, all right. So when I think of this, I think about the number line. And I think, let's start at 9. I'm going to just do a bunch of marks here. 4 or 5. I'm just going to do a whole bunch of them. And then I think, look, we're starting at 9, and we're subtracting a number. So when we think about the number line, it's more positive on this direction and negative in this direction. Oh. So I'm kind of going like 9 and then 8, 7, right? Our numbers are getting lower and lower. So when we see a minus, we're typically thinking we're starting here at 9 and we're going in the negative direction. But because we're subtracting a negative, we have 2 negatives here. We got this negative and then we got this negative. We actually go minus a negative. So instead of going the opposite direction, we go the opposite twice. And we end up going in a positive direction. We go +6. So that's why we end up with 9 plus 6, which is 15. That's the way I always, but I feel like I have a hard time explaining this sometimes.
Well, it's difficult to explain.
Yeah.
It is difficult to explain.
Like minus and negative sounds like a weird
If you think of like
concept.
a minus as an opposite sign, and minus is telling us to go left, and then it's saying, well, minus and negative, so the opposite of left, you're going to the right.
Exactly.
So you can think of it that way.
Like when
That's
you're
a
wrong
number
twice,
line
you're
model.
right. I think that's how it works, right? If you're wrong
Yeah,
about
2 wrongs
things,
make a
then
right.
you're right. Yeah.
Obviously. Here, if you give me the pen, I'll show you
All right,
the.
is it working
So
now?
that's one model, and we're saying his way and my way, but really it's not. There are two models you can kind of think of when you think of integers. There's the number line model, and then there's also maybe the chips or the tile model, and I'll show you with that model as well. And honestly, I have a lot of experience teaching integers, and both of them are really valid. Both of them extend into higher level math. and really there's not really one that works better than others. It's just kind of preference. I don't know, some kids just kind of lean towards the chips, and some of them lean towards the number line. But so the big idea, one of the big ideas with the chips is that a positive and a negative together, so like if I had, for example, +1 and -1, and I combined these two things, what they make is you could call a zero pair. They equal 0. They cancel each other out. So if I had $1, but then I owed Nate $1, then I would be back to 0. So this idea of a zero pair, or a positive and a negative, just equals 0. So equals 0, cancels each other. So I can represent positive numbers with plus signs, and I can represent negative numbers with minus signs. So I could say +9, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then the other thing that we kind of need to understand when we're thinking about this is that a minus sign, what that means, or the action that we're doing when we're subtracting something, is we're taking away. It means take away. So what we're kind of thinking of here is we have +9, we're starting with +9, and we need to take away -6. Now, what you might notice with the way that I represented +9 is that there's no real way to take away -6, the way that I've represented it. So what we can do is use this idea of a zero pair, or zeros, to represent +9 in a little bit different of a way. I could add as many zeros to this +9 as I wanted to, and I'm not changing the value of it. So I now have, I just added a zero pair, a positive and a negative. My value is still +9. I'm adding another positive and negative. Now I have 2 negatives. I'm getting to the point where maybe I can take away 6 negatives. Oops, my negative disappeared. And so what you might see or notice is that I need to add 6 of these little zero pairs, if you will, so that I can take away 6 negatives from this. So again, if you look at the diagram that I have represented, is I still have +9 represented. I have a bunch of zeros added to it, but it's still +9, the value of it. As I mentioned, now I can take away this -6. If you think about, so all of this is our -6. This has a value of -6, and I can take it away. And then once I take it away, then we look at the value of what we have left, and we can count all of our positives. We have 15 positive signs, so therefore we have +15. Hence, why taking away a negative is like adding a positive.
Wow, that's the first time it's made sense to me. Like, I actually think I could explain it to another student now. Mm-hmm. Maybe I just wasn't really paying attention before.
I don't think you were.
I think I wasn't. I
don't think you were.
I think I was tired. And I was like,
nice.
yeah, that's great.
Nice, cool stuff.
I'm going to do my number line thing again. That's a great visual way of kind of seeing that, though. That makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And again, both ways do work. So,
yeah.
All right, it is that time. It is time to get our trivia question again to give you a chance to win.
All right, so today's trivia question, if you missed it the first time, was who was the first man in space? And we have an answer for that, and the answer is Yuri Gagarin. Yuri Alexeyevich Gagarin. And he is a Russian cosmonaut. He, on April 12th, 1961, he became the first human to enter outer space and orbit the Earth. He did so in a Vostok spacecraft. In 1960, after much searching and a selection process, he was chosen with 19 other pilots for the Soviet space program. Gagarin was further selected for an elite training group known as the Sochi 6, from which the first cosmonauts of the Vostok program would be chosen. Other prospective candidates were subjected to experiments designed to test physical and psychological endurance. And out of 20 selected, Gagarin was the eventual choice for the first launch due to his performance during training sessions, as well as his physical characteristics. He was only 5 feet 2 inches tall, so there's limited space in the capsule there, so they had the smallest person they could get to go in there. He was also favored by his peers, and when 20 candidates were asked anonymously to vote for which candidate they thought should go, he was chosen by all but 3. So even his peers thought he should go up.
I wonder if those 3 voted for themselves.
Probably.
Maybe. I mean, they wanted to be famous too.
Yeah, they wanted to go to space, be the first one to go to space.
Yep.
He sounded like a pretty incredible person.
Yeah.
Really interestingly, there are a lot of rumors about his death. He was supposed to go up into another mission up into space, but he died just right before that, just days before that. So I don't know, but very interesting guy. So look him up if you do get a chance. But we do have to go. We have to say goodbye for today. So if you didn't get a chance to answer our trivia question or get your question answered, just let us know tomorrow. We'll see you from 4:30 to 5:30 again. And thank you again for joining us today.